Good afternoon and welcome back to the Port Macquarie Regional Stadium with Doyalson versus West here as we get to the third last game of the night. We've got Manly and Central Coast, followed by Penrith and Newcastle. Don't touch the sets, don't touch the dials, don't you go anywhere. We've got Doyalson tapping off right to left. I'm joined in commentary once again by Jason Stanton. Jason, it's good to have you back.
Mate, really excited to be here. Loving being in Port. I just went for a stroll among the trees, saw a couple koalas. I'm pumped.
I was going to say, you're that excited, you look like a koala amongst the gum trees. I was going to say that. But I'm also joined here in commentary by the superstar assistant coach of the Central Coast Dolphins men's open side, Mark Tipple. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you, Nath. Thanks for the accurate introduction as well.
Yeah, I didn't want to give you too much credit. I don't want to take too much away from JD also. So welcome. And we've got an interesting game here. West draw and a loss to Manly, a surprise loss to Manly in the last one. Opens up the door and we've got an intercept and they're away. I think it's Eagleton. He's up over the 10. He's over halfway. Shoots flying. He's going. Shoot the big dive.
Whoa.
What a touch. James Shute.
Absolute sensational chase there by Shoot. What effort? Is that going to set the tone for the next 28 minutes, Nathan? I'm excited.
You sound as well, Mark. What do you think about that sort of touch football?
Mate, Shooty winding back the clock. Eagleton, the young superstar. Shooty right up there with him, catches him. Impressive.
Shooty absolutely turning back the clock as the ball fired out by Langbridge. And referee Heckendorf gives a penalty.
Right on the spot there, Luke. Very experienced referee. Very hard to get anything past Luke. Very switched on. Look at him directing him going forward. He's in full control of the game. Great defence there by the Magpies. This is going to be an interesting one, Nathan. As you said, West haven't won a game today. The draw and the loss. And this is really like throwing everything at this one for the weekend for the Magpies.
And they'll go the Cindy play and Heckendorf again. He's not in the mood to move. Heckendorf, he's happy to just stand there and blow the penalties. And Doyalson, something with Doyalson, as you guys know, you don't want to give them too many repeat sets. As they go for the line, and you've got Johnson getting the quick and a big dive. I think he got there. Heckendorf and Nomovsky on the spot. And I couldn't agree more with that. Touchdown to Johnson. Doyalson take the lead. They'll play from in front today.
Riley Johnson actually backing up from Queensland State Cup last weekend playing with Gold Coast. They made the grand final against Rockhampton. He's got an awesome punish slide dive. I think you guys saw it at Country Champs. Putting it on display here early.
Yeah, great start there by Doyalson. And it's a bit of a shout out to the coaches. It's a bit of a coaching battle here. We've got Carly Banks, who's one of the best coaches in the world at the moment. Then we've got Rob Barakat and Anthony Samuel, up-and-coming coaches in the Premier League world. So this is going to be a bit of a battle between the coaches as well, off the field, as well as the great talent we're seeing on the field.
As they go for the line, Kazzy gets it down. They go for the line. He's thrown it out there like a basketball. And Guy Luca Conti doesn't get it. And referee Sam Piper, nicknamed Rowdy Roddy. And they'll tap the ball going forward here through Little. And step off the right, and they'll head to the box side, you think. And they go for the reinforcements. There's Jake Fitzpatrick, an experienced campaigner. And there he is, Eagleton, the young buck, here making his way in this Premier League side. And Dill Thompson's on the field. The Golden Jubilee player out the back, batted on. And the ball to ground.
Quick shout out, Nath, to Mitch Wilton. I don't know if you mentioned it earlier, but obviously New South Wales men's open middle that plays for Doyalson. Unfortunately, massive injury just this past week. So thoughts with him. He's in the box with them, and I'm sure he'll still be contributing. Yeah,
we don't like any types of injuries. We've seen a few today, and as you said, I know we were talking about Bankstown before. There's a couple of injuries there for those boys as Sam Clune comes cross field and finds Jesse Jenkins. And New South Wales Men's Open representative this year on the wing. Jesse, one of the, I suppose, mainstays here in this Doyalson side over a number of years and does a good job. He's at the left wrist strap, and that's probably one of the worst passes you'll see this weekend from acting half there from Sam Clune. So that'll be deleted from the highlights package, no doubt, as Costello gets the ball and he works up the halfway, and there's Phillips. going over, and Costello with those dinner plates of hands and goes forward, and they give it. Oh, and there's a coach killer. There's Zach Batar.
A little bit flustered here, Nathan, the Western Suburbs team, but I don't mind the game plan going down the middle, and then those second phase dumps there coming into the line where they look like they're going to do a play for those new to the game, and then they dump again. I think that's probably the way to give them a chance against Doyalson here this afternoon.
Yeah, so you'd have to say thank you to Adam there for that penalty. It looked like a drop ball to me from up here, but Adam all over it doing his job, and so big thank you to him for doing that. As Simmons hits the half, and you got Lincoln Little, and Thompson picks it up. They go out. There's Rottimer. Rottimer gives it off, and there's Little all juggles and steps and gets touched. West pressing hard here in defence. They're sending up Blackwood, and he's in the middle here. We were speaking that last West game, the draw that they had about Blackwood, usually a link, and he's found his way into the middle, so a little bit of tactics from Western Suburbs. But West in this one, Jace, a lot of young blood here for the men's opens.
Yeah, it's a really balanced team. You got some real talent there, like Justin Costello, James Blackwood. Then you got those like Junior Catalano, Jason Kazi, like some real serious talent coming through. And then also some of the young guys pushing through, like the young Barracat boys. So it's a really balanced West team, but they've really got to put it together if they want to compete with Doyalson, who really setting the benchmark at the moment in men's touch.
And Mark, how are the Dolphins sitting, mate, so far today? How have you both been going?
Solid, building pretty well. Had a good first up couple of wins, and a solid win against Beresfield, who are a bit of a bogey team, as we see West attack the line again. Off to a good start, and we'll see them up next.
As you said, attacking the line, and the ball's come through, and Heckendorf there throwing out another penalty. I think he mentioned earlier today that he was looking forward to running, and there's not much of that happening at the moment with him blowing the whistle. But as we've said a few times here, the referee's doing a fantastic job this weekend, and Jace has been very pleased, particularly the ones refereeing him. And I think anyone that puts up with Jace on the field's doing a great job and needs commendation. As Kazi, didn't read the matrix there on the outball and puts it down, and West, they're just making some real 1% errors there. And
yeah, they haven't quite settled in yet, Nathan. And I have been pleasantly surprised with this end of refereeing, Nathan. So thanks for pointing that out. But I actually did want to ask Mark, tell us, for some of the viewers at home, Doyalson and Central Coast, bit of a rivalry there, like both outstanding teams, and any love lost? What's it like?
It's a really interesting history, Jace, actually, between the two teams. Obviously the same region. Doyalson kicked off their men's program in 2014, and a lot of them came from playing men's at Central Coast. If we see Riley Johnson with that beautiful dive again. They were Doyalson juniors, played a little bit for Central Coast. It goes back a long way, and Doyalson, when they were coming through, Wollongong were really hard on them, another country team, and now they're kind of the same as the Central Coast. It's Fitzy. I was just going to say before, we'll see conditions come into play here. Not only will the ball be slippery, and that's why we're seeing the drop balls, but, underfoot, we're seeing attackers and defenders alike losing their footing quite often.
Yeah, well, I think the field's held up quite well, as I mentioned earlier today. The groundsman, Kerry up here, he's been the groundsman here for 16 years. He does a fantastic job. I know a lot of people have commented about the outside fields, and obviously it's been a tough couple of years, but they're in very good nick out the outfield. We had a fair bit of rain last night and this morning, and even the stadium field here is holding up well. Obviously, you get to see the patterns of where everyone runs, because it starts becoming a bit monotonous, and going in the same spots around that 7 metre and goal, it becomes really slippery, as you mentioned, Mark, especially underfoot, as Phillips picks it up and he looks to stand up Eagleton, and he's touched. And Dawson just look like they're in a little bit of cruise control here at the moment. They're just sort of going up and down the field and really doing what they need to do without going into second or third gear just yet.
Yeah, similar to the game we saw earlier with Parramatta and Bankstown, where the more experienced or the more senior team sort of cruised a bit, and they really need to get a couple more here, because if they do invite West back into the game, West have got enough ability to really bother them.
There's Thompson, the 2-on-1. He throws it. That had to be forward, I thought, but Dafter's going to score. I thought the pass, because he held it up, he didn't go the initial pass, he didn't give it. He held it up and went the second time, and you'll have to check the replay yourself. But I think it might have been forward, and the referees have awarded it, so it becomes fish and chip paper, really.
Yeah, I don't need to replay Nathan when they're that far forward, mate. I just... it's all good. Anyway, just thanks for the insight there about Doyalson and Central Coast. So just to confirm that there is no truth in the comment that Central Coast are a feeder club for Doyalson.
It hasn't been confirmed yet, so may it never be the truth. But 12:05 tomorrow, they are playing in the final round match for this pool. And, you know, that's going to be a semi or a grand final preview, potentially. So tune in then. It will be red hot.
For those of you at home, yes, it is live here, New South Wales Touch TV. And thank you to Bar TV for their streaming. It'll be live 12:05 tomorrow. So if you're out and about playing cricket, just tell the umpires that you want to have a short break for half an hour. Take the lunch break. Put the feet up wherever you are across the state, country, or international. I know we're getting a lot of international viewers, and we have a group of Singaporeans here this weekend who are refereeing and also playing. So as Thompson picks it up, he steps. Blackwood goes out the back. The pep play, that was forward from Simmons. It was forward, the original bat, and Heckendorf's got it. There we go. We'll get the penalty there.
Good, very good read there. That could have got a little bit ugly there, but Luke stepped in. Very good assessment of the situation.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Heckendorf, he's one of the better referees going around. Most experience. He uses his experience to his advantage and does there. And we have West going to the box now, and Jenkins making the touch, and there's Matalizzo, Masashi. And I really hope, and the pair of you will hopefully agree, that Mad's one of the better finishers in the game. We saw earlier today big Luke Osborne do the big front flip. I think Mads has got a trick or two up his sleeve, so hopefully he gets a bit of open space here on this near touchline.
Yeah, he's an outstanding winger, and just for the longevity of his career, he's been able to compete at a high level for an extended period. And this is sort of some of that talent we've seen in West if Doyalson invite him back into the game. But at the moment, Doyalson doing a good job of controlling the ball, making it difficult.
They go forward. Fitzpatrick will go for Langbridge. Langbridge picks up. He steps. He's quick. And that's into the stomach. And I agree with that. Probably a little bit tough. I know you went ooh on that one, Mark. I feel like...
Yeah, just quickly on those ones, I just want to see consistent calls on it. And I think we need clarification on when someone's, playing at the ball and when someone's going for the touch. Because I feel like right now it's very subjective.
Yep. I think the two greyest areas, and probably grey as the clouds in the sky, that are in the game at the moment would be the play-through rule, and that also when people are playing at the ball or whether they're not and it hits them in the stomach or the arm or whatever, and whether they're, I think what you're trying to say is that whether they consistently are going for the touch or whether it's actually playing at the ball to try and knock it down. And, players can be smart about it with the way they position their body and things like that. Like that, for example, I feel like the player did really well to position his body in a way where he was blocking the path, but he's also in that position to make a touch, so therefore he should get the benefit.
Yeah.
But, like you said, I think, as you said, it's probably one of the most inconsistently ruled things in the game.
Yeah. Possibly. Also, Mark could be angling for a job there at Doyalson, so I'll have to talk to Carly Banks a bit later.
Please do, Jace.
You seem to be very complimentary of Doyalson all of a sudden, Mark.
Please do.
There's currently three of us here in the box, and I tell you what, between Mark, Jason and myself, and Jason's massive spoon that he's stirring the pot with here, there's not much room up here in the boxes. Blackwood goes forward. Kazzy picks it up. He looks and dances at Eagleton. He gives it away to Costello. There's Costello. He basketballs it over the top with one hand. As I said, his hands have got to be as big as dinner plates. I think the analogy before was baseball gloves. But, yeah, West's attack there, a little bit one-dimensional at the moment. And I think they tried to change it up there and to no avail.
Just a fraction off there, Nathan. Like, there's still plenty of footy left in this, but I'd like to see Bankstown. I'd like to see West go back to the, like the second phase options. I think that's when they look their best, or when they trouble Doyalson the most.
Yeah, they'll get the opportunity here to just nudge out that lead to 3. You got the Langbridge brothers there at work. There's Alex off the ground and the big dive and slide from Zach Sun. We need to see a bit of him tomorrow. Bit of Zach Sun, so Be good if he comes out nice and early instead of the rain that we had this morning. Langbridge picks up, gives it to brother Daniel, and he looks at double pub. He gives it back, and he's dropped it. He spilt the lollies. The line was wide open, and Daniel Langbridge, he spilt it. Oh, like a coffee in the morning on a bad day.
Yeah, I think he scored that before he'd caught it.
He's definitely had to look up, and there's Alex. A little bit of frustration gives Blackwood the shove.
I'll have to get some. We got any liquid paper here? I already marked that try down. Sorry, I'll have to scribble it off. I thought didn't he score it? I put my head down to mark the try. I looked up and the ball was bouncing around the in goal. I think I missed something there, Nate.
I think so. And they come on the field, and there's Catalano, JP. He's been a little bit quiet here. Phillips has got some speed. He's trying to take on, and the young bucks trying to take on Langbridge, and not to be on that occasion. And I'll play the ball and work their way out here. There's still plenty of time in this game, and as a coach, Mark, what do you think the West Box will be saying? There's still plenty of time, and they're just sort of going with the flow of the game at the moment, and what do they need to do to change?
Well, ideally, they stick in this one. I think Doyalson have another couple gears in them, and I think Carly will be getting the boys ready to step up those gears. West just want to keep their energy really high here so it doesn't get away from them, I reckon.
Little tries to dump the ball and can't do so. The slippery conditions, as you mentioned before, playing havoc there.
Stano, I watched your game this morning.
Unlucky.
I'm wondering how your legs might be sore, but your throat from chatting to the refs the whole game might be a bit sore as well. It's impressive you're up here, mate.
I might ease off that tomorrow because I'm just like one of those players that really try and encourage the referees, and I was telling them how they were doing a great job and, keep their head down and, you're doing an awesome job. And I think the encouragement...
Very encouraging.
Probably just went a bit over the top too much with the encouragement of the referees. So I might try and tone that off a bit.
I do believe I saw you chatting to the State Director, Ian Matthew, about a potential job on the panel. We talk about Mark looking for a job at Doyalson. I think you're looking for a job on the ref panel. Yeah,
well, I've been out of touch for about 10 years. I must say I was surprised that Matto's still involved when I came back because I thought his use-by date was a while back. But Matto's absolute legend, and I keep trying to angle for a job, but he doesn't rate me. So Matto's going to have to just hang around because he doesn't like me, no. He doesn't rate me.
Sounds like a similar situation to me and Doyalson, actually, Stano, so fancy that.
No, you've been rapping Dorlo for 20 minutes. Carly's loving you. It's all good, mate.
As the Doyalson lead extends here on the main stadium, a nice long pass out, and 3-0 the lead with 12 to go. And we spoke about the a little bit earlier today. We spoke about sort of where we get to killing time. So obviously State Cup, it's all about saving legs, and it's 3-0 after 18 minutes of 30. Is that enough time to kill, or do you think? That's smart
nice
play. Jesse Jenkins shot out of the line out like a cannon, and Robbie Knuckler. Oh no, they're not going to. They're not going to take. They couldn't take it away. Oh no. No. They've taken it off him for a forward pass. Sometimes you just got to give credit for the play. The play, there it is.
And that wasn't forward. That'll do, mate. And then you wonder why I lose it.
And the referees there with Heckendorf's all over it. The play by West, if you get the chance, that just outsmarted Dawson.
There's an outstanding try from Western Suburbs, somehow called forward, and then Dawson proceeded to play gridiron, and it's play on. So you wonder why I lose it, but anyway.
As they get another chance back, Kazi throws long over the top. Knuckler couldn't handle it. He caught the last one, but when it mattered, he wasn't able to get back. Catalano's lightning. He would have been hard to stop from there. And they can consider themselves unlucky.
There's still plenty of time here, isn't there, Nathan? Plenty of time if West can just sort of steady themselves. But Doylo, if they go that extra gear mark that you're talking about, this game could easily blow out.
Just Langbridge over the top, and Rodimer caught with it, and some good defence there by the Western Suburbs side. And go to the box, and there's JP's minutes have increased. He a little bit quiet in the first 10, but he's been in everything for the last couple. JP Catalano, that's a big hit from Lincoln Little and goes unpenalised as Barracat plays the ball. The ball picked up by Junior, and he gives the ball out. Picked up Was that on the half volley?
That didn't bounce?
What?
I'm
not
the refs
sure.
will have a chat about this one.
The referees are a lot closer than us. That was tight. And they say ball down. And I'll tell you what I did like in that play is that Conti, he could sell ice to Eskimos. I'm telling you, he just picked that up and kept going as if Bob is Urani, and away you go. But no, called back by the referees, and yeah, a little bit hard to tell in the box up here on that one. It was really tight without a replay screen.
Yeah, it was a hard one, but I was really impressed with the referee there, the way that, because the game's so quick and he's just nice and calm, had a chat with the sideline, got the call right. So outstanding. Like to see more of that. Very good referee in there.
Appreciate the encouragement, Stano.
And the Central Coast boys taking on Manly. Manly had a good win against the Westies in the last game as Blackwood picks it up and expecting anything special, and shoot, there gives it back on the inside.
Some good lines there from West.
Expecting anything out of the box, they'll come at you quite hard. Obviously, you know, the year you've had, the country champs runners up and the Vorden Cup runners up, you've got a bit of a target on your body at the moment, so they'll come hard at you, Manly.
I think everyone kind of knows what to expect when they're playing the Dolphins boys now. Manly suffered a big loss against Doylo this morning and then semi-upset win against West. So in these conditions, as we're saying, I think it's a bit of an equaliser. But the Dolphins boys, they've had a good year. We're building towards Sunday pretty well, and I think it'll be step by step, pretty simple. We've only got 12 today. We're missing a link in a wing. One of the links being Owen Flaherty. So the boys are doing well to get through the day and are worried about Sunday afternoon. So step by step.
Yeah, I think there's every chance it could be a really, really big weekend for Central Coast. Could be a bit of a breakthrough because they're sort of been knocking on the door there. And I think from what I've seen from some of the men's games today, there is a lot of talent there, but not necessarily a lot of consistency. The team's still building through the weekend, and I think that sort of 3-day tournament really suits Central Coast. So,
I think as well when Hornsby lost Dylan, Penrith lost Jake Toby, Doyalson lost Wilton, things like that. That's once again quite an equaliser. So not to say that we're getting our hopes up, but we'll be there or thereabouts if we keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, similar to had a conversation with Paul Sphere, touch football legend and West Women's Opens coach, and he was saying that's the women's Opens division is absolutely crazy with draws and people beating people and looking at the ladder a little bit earlier today, it seems to be all over the shop and everyone's ball game. So the women's division is just a nine teams, so that's goes into a straight semi-final. So the top four could be very interesting. That one result, the big passing, Rodimer out the back, and that was close to forward, was it? And they'll score in that far corner. Try. And Rodimer, he's come out of he's come out of Hibbert's bowling club there to get the ball there at the passive play.
That's an outstanding try there, gentlemen, and that's the sort of try that gets the opposition coaches really, really worried when Doyle executes that way. Really hard to defend on the back of the drive. Crisp passing, outstanding touch football.
And the try there, I think, on that far side was to Zach Sun. And as you said, he'll be fingers crossed that he's here tomorrow.
That's classic Doyalson play. I think a lot of people would have seen that controversial YouTube video, #1 touch club in the world, and that's what we've seen, for the last 6, 7, 8 years from them. And Stano's right. If they keep executing like that, it's so hard.
What's the video? Self-assessed #1 is. Stop it. Hopefully, West can finish this game well. Bit of a shout out to them. Very talented team. It just hasn't gone that well for them today. They've been a fraction off. They could easily have beaten Hornsby. They're probably a little bit inconsistent against Manly, and Doyalson probably a little bit too much class in this one. But hopefully they can finish off well, and they've definitely represented the club well today.
As Kazzy throws it over the top, and big Tommy Dafter, he stands there at probably 6.5 foot, 7 foot tall, and we've had the last play we had the referee speak to the captain, Robbie Knuckler. I believe he's the captain of the men's side, and I believe it was Nicholas Barracat as well, so giving him a bit of a dressing down, referee Heckendorf, and a little bit of frustration starting to come in for the Westies, and it was Jake Fitzpatrick there copping one in the in the lemon spread, and just causing a bit of a stoppage. But we've got just over 5 minutes to go, and Thompson on the sweep. But Thompson's got speed, as we know. He throws it. Oh, great hands. Tommy Dafter getting down low, and referee Piper gives a penalty, and it's probably a big thing here for West at 4-0. Obviously, the clock becomes their enemy, but they'll need to stay disciplined here in this and be careful not to lose some players near this back end if they lose their cool a little bit.
It was a great save out there by Mads, and again, I think Mark mentioned it earlier with some of the consistency. That's a great call by Piper there, where Doyalson get to execute, then bring it back for the offside, and I'd like to see more of that as well. Really makes it entertaining to watch.
Thompson out ball, they go the phase, and they got room there. Clune, they got the 2-1, but Barakat dives, and that's some great defence, a scrambling defence from Barakat to get across behind them, and that's the sort of stuff you like to see, Mark. There's 4.5 to go. They're down by 4, but that's the sort of desperation you need.
Yeah, good fight, and that classic West never give up mentality on display.
Got the back, and that's in the head, and this is one we talk about, and it's consistently applied
yeah.
there.
Yeah, that's fair. He hasn't really played at the ball. He was in a good defensive position, and good call from the ref there.
Knocked his hat off, hit him straight in the melon.
So that's an interesting one, Mark. If you can, unpack that. Sorry for those at home watching. So he's in a position where if he's not there, it's a try. So whether he plays at it or not, is it 6 again? How do you think the game should be interpreted?
And I think some refs are saying, okay, because he was in the lane, then it's 6 again. But I think he should be rewarded, like Lovey was saying. Oh, good long ball.
All over the plate. Good running there from Carbon.
Steve Tashi, outstanding player there, just a bit unlucky. Sorry, Mark.
I think he's positioned himself so well that he should be rewarded. If it does get thrown into his head, he can't help that. He hasn't essentially made a play at the ball, and so that's play on. So yeah, I think defenders being rewarded for being in the right spot.
Well, there's no reward for good defence. Like, that is good defence. If you can put your body in a position where you like, unless you're blatantly, like if that hits you in the head, for example, there's no way you're playing at it. I think that's where the inconsistency comes.
It's a tough
because
one, but
people will say it hits you in the head, so that's no good. Like, you're not playing at it. But then if it hits you in the stomach and you're in that channel, like Jace was saying, then at times they'll go against you, and that's where the inconsistency is, which they need to go sort of as black and white as they can, which would be 50 Shades of Grey, and say that, okay, if you're in the channel and it's good, if we rule it good defence, then it's a changeover.
It's a hard
ball
one.
down.
I think the referee's doing a good job, but it is. I think it is a bit challenging, and I think we saw one in the last game with Parramatta where I think Jordan Marshall was running back onside, totally in the way, and then it was ruled that he didn't play at it. Yeah, and I was a bit like, oh. So I think it is a hard one. I think it's a good spot there, Mark, and definitely a bit of a talking point around the touch community at the moment.
Stano, Dill Thompson's looking fantastic as usual. He's creeped into his 30s now. You've seen him come through in his career. What's impressed you with him as he takes off from half, passive again?
Yeah, I think we might have a try here. No, we don't. Yeah, Dylan's. I've been really impressed. Like, he's always had that speed and talent that often people will refer to. But throughout his career, his composure and reading of the game and really controlling the tempo has really improved, and that's what we're seeing here today with this West game. This could have easily got into an arm wrestle, but just by guiding it, controlling the ball, running the right plays, sequencing different types of plays coming into the line, Dylan's really put his stamp on the game, and it's can't sort of compliment him enough on his career.
Just a point with a couple of minutes to go. The last two driving sets, and you mentioned Steve Tashi before. The last two driving sets from West have been their most direct and they're most organised in the whole game. And I think if they do watch this back, a lot of the teams will take the opportunity here for the live stream to watch it back. I think they need to look at that point. And if, they're dangerous, you're looking, Catalano on the end of that, there's options. There's split defence when, any team that you've got right on the back foot, except for probably Hornsby, who will roll back to that line. Every team will try and take you on man in that, and someone will try and make the touch. But if you can get the energy like they did in the last literal two sets that they've taken on there, it's been their best driving sets of the game. Yeah,
and I think some of the teams tomorrow, while West are probably out of things for this weekend after this result, I wouldn't really want to be playing them tomorrow, because when West knocked down the front door that way and played direct, they've got enough talent through Kazi, Catalano, JP, Blackie to really upset teams. So if you're not switched on and, for example, Central Coast tomorrow, if they're sort of looking for a bit of a rest and West come out and put together some sequences like that, it's going to be, they can really cause a bit of an upset tomorrow, I feel.
100%. Bit of a transition phase for West, and you think with the workers' experience, knowledge that they have, if they had a couple more strike players, like they'd be in and amongst any of these games. But good on them. We'll see them, give it to every team. Like everyone expects a hard game.
I think so. Mark's there taking notes. Mark, Kazzie's got 2 Zs, mate.
Doyle there, trying to get over the top, and Stano never short of a joke, that's for sure, as Harry Cash. Old Cash Money here on the wing. He takes it there, and there's the hooter for us, full time. And Doyalson in this one, gents, a little bit too good. And we'll take a short break. A big thanks to Jason, a big thanks to Mark, and Mark will be joining me in the morning. He'll be
Thanks,
back here.
boys.
And I know he's got to run out to go and get in the box, so make sure you stay dry, Mark. And
Will do. Thank you.
Jace, thanks for your time today. It's been much appreciated. Look forward to joining you in the box tomorrow as well.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Absolute pleasure.
We'll be back in a few moments for Central Coast taking on the Manly Seagulls.